Well, good very early morning to everyone. Good evening to John down in Kangaroo Land, and good afternoon to people around the globe, and good night to others. But anyway, here we go. I should have prepared some dynamic theme music, but to be honest, you can't really top the Sweeney soundtrack or some of the other soundtracks that have been made to do with law enforcement programs. And I do say law enforcement, any relevance to policing is purely coincidental, fictitious, and see the legal disclaimer. So, anyway, when Dtrain gets an idea, it's normally firstly a bad idea. And secondly, it normally leads to a contravention of the Table Act of 1977. So here we are with a Malagasy law enforcement department. It's completely what if, it's completely fictional. It's based on real Pelian principles, adhering to the code of ethics, but it is a 1 in 72nd made up world. Now, the idea was that I wanted to build some law cars, keep it separate from policing around the world, to go in some dioramas to keep some of my aircraft and missiles safe from what if criminals. And then the idea grew and grew and grew. And now what we have is a representation of a law department in a small what if town. Now, I say small. This is actually a very generously well equipped law department, quite comparable to what you'd see in a large town within certain countries. And it's got the ability to deal with pretty much everything to do with the law. And that goes from a kind of initial response all the way to custody transport. Now, the law officers, they're really unhappy and they've done their morale survey and they now want a law station. So you can guess what's coming next. So like I said, this is purely what if. But let's start here. This driver of the red GTI has unfortunately been found to be wanted after a routine traffic stop. So the officer here is using a quite strange arm lock. This must be a very compliant prisoner, and they are effecting the arrest. Now, the 1 in 72nd figures which are available in 176 from 3D printing are truly amazing. So these are from eBay, and this, if I can get it to focus, is the kind of detail you can expect. So the pole went for khaki green with black bulletproof / stab vests. And really in 1 in 76 or 1 in 72nd modelling, you have a choice of kind of the British policing model, which is unarmed, or the American one, which is armed. So general duty Malagasy what if police officers, especially after the Marmation-inspired rebellion, they are armed with sidearms. They do have access to AR-15 style rifles in their vehicles. So therefore they don't transport prisoners in their vehicles, their general vehicles. And the detail is simply stunning. So you've got a representation of the taser on one side, and the sidearm there. The levels of printing are just, well, amazing really, and you can get such a variety of figures. So this is female officer arresting a female suspect in the complementary custody jogging outfit, and yeah, just a great set of figures really. They do dog people as well with canines, and I need to get some of those. So there we go. Now, worth saying that the general response law officers, they have some pretty cool cars because that's what is available. And like I said, they don't transport prisoners in their cars because of the firearms. So when they do transport prisoners, each response team has some custody vehicles, which are cage vans, where you've got the cell vans, where you've got the cell at the back, and that's where the prisoner goes for safe transport. Generally, the response teams, this is a response team, will operate either 3 up in a car or 2 up at a minimum. When you start looking at officers with firearms, you're looking at a 2 as a minimum for safety. And the response team, which is here, these response law officers will deal with things like general policing duties, road traffic collisions, domestic incidents, general responding to crime, the first responders, or responding to law incidents. And here they have a mix of kind of plain vehicles, because the Valio fluorescent yellow is absolutely awful to work with, and then marked vehicles for fast road use. Pretty cool, Evo 8, really nice. And the sergeants has sergeants have a R34, so pretty cool. There's a Subaru there, and a RAV4 for generally going around in. What we then have is the evidence gatherers. So after the response law officers have responded to an incident, say a domestic, the evidence gathering team then exists to attend to do forensics with this forensic van, the evidence gathering road traffic collision van, and or to take statements, do CCTV trawls, speak to witnesses, do house-to-house inquiries, and everything in the What If Malagasy state is blue light capable, and all officers get their grades refreshed, which is pretty cool. And they gather the evidence. Now, ideally, and because of the distances involved, if a prisoner is arrested and the custody van is available, this will come to the scene. It's equipped with 2 cells in the rear. It has a custody sergeant on board, computer systems for ID, and it can take the prisoner straight off the officers, allowing them to get on with their job. So the idea is that the response law enforcement officers are kept clear to attend more incidents. Now, this is very much the response end of things, and they are supported by a mental health car with mental health specialists, and we mustn't misunderestimate the effect that even in 1/72nd scale mental health has. Social services, so they are blue light equipped to come out to deal with domestics, child protection issues, vulnerable people. And they work closely with the ambulance, the Malagasy What If ambulance service, also attending incidents, say if you've got a prisoner that becomes unwell or states that they've got chest pains. Well, the ambulance always has a crew and a unit dedicated to come and assist and make that assessment. And of course, we've got the Malagasy What If Fire Ministry, and they attend road traffic collisions and put out fires and stuff like that. Then we go on to, if you like, the proactive end of policing and the specialised end of, law. I must say law, not policing. And this is your neighbourhood team for this small town. And being the rural Madagascar What If area, they're well equipped with Land Rovers to get around, look after the community, do proactive stuff like traffic operations, and we'll come on to those later, and sort of crime prevention and protection. They do have the ability to respond as well if they need to with this suitably marked Evo 8. I really like the Evo, it's a fantastic car. Yes, so generally equipped with Land Rovers, but they do have the ability to respond. And of course, they undertake a lot more of the proactive duties. Again, if they make and arrest those law officers, they're supported by the custody law team, which is equipped to take the prisoner off them, freeing them up. And then we get to sort of specialised teams. Now here I need to build up the 172nd law officers, but each area would have a public order vehicle, which is represented here, and that would have a 1 in 7. Now all of these law officers work shifts, So they provide 24/7 service, and this would be used for doing warrants or responding to any disorders, anything like that. Obviously, you've got the influence of Marmite, and when people are under the influence of Marmite, well, you don't know what they're going to do. Next along, we have a dog unit here with a converted 1/76 scale Oxford Land Rover, Range Rover. So that will have two 1/72 dogs in the back, and it's suitably marked there to make sure that you don't inadvertently open the door and get inadvertently bitten by the dog. Then we have the drone unit. Now, drones in law enforcement are really important. So this support vehicle carries a drone and drone operators, and that will be able to respond to look for missing 1/72 people that have fallen into the carpet monster, and help recover those or support in other ways when that's required. And last but not least, for specialist traffic jobs, we have a traffic car. Now let's move on to the next level of what if law enforcement. Now these are all, if you like, your outside or reactive, proactive officers back in the police station, which I need to build. There will be teams of prisoner handlers, custody staff, support staff, and of course detectives that deal with serious things. So here we have some cars for the what if law officer detectives. Again, blue light capable, so if there is a major incident in this what if Malagasy town, the first responders can respond, and then to give advice and direction and control and investigate at a higher level, we have the detectives. And last but not least, and this is really where kind of my law team started, is with armed specialist law officers, and these are 1/72 prints from AliExpress, and they are absolutely fantastic. The level of detail from the 3D printing is just amazing. We've got a little 3D printed robot there, which we have some kind of CS or stun grenades, and it does have a machine gun. And because the Marmation, the deadly Marmation commandos still remain a threat. And here are some specialist law officers. They've got out of their specialist vehicle and they are preparing to do an entry or stack into a building. Someone there is covering the rear. Then we've got a Butler's printed model Tangi, which again could respond with a public order serial or the specialist officers, and then just some more specialist officers. And you always need a vehicle that is capable of basically transporting stuff around, and that's what this Ford F350 is. So like I said, this is all completely what if, but this is kind of what happens when I get an idea. It's based around some real theory, but it spirals off, and I think you'd say that any law officer with an EVA 8 would be quite happy. They have gone for a very streamlined, efficient process, well supported by partner agencies. I particularly like the social emergency response vehicle. The decals are printed water slide decals. The vehicles are just whatever is available on the interweb. I hope you like it. Take care. Goodbye.